All right, starting now.
Yes, sir. Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special Monday edition of the Co-op Pod. I'm your host, Richard Billy Jr., and today I'm joined by Mr. Gary A. Swaby. How's it going, Gary?
Hey, what's up? We're a day late, but we still had to get the show done because we always get the job done. So we're here.
Absolutely. We're also joined by Mr. Jake J. Lugo. How's it going, Mr. Lugo?
I'm doing good. E3 was pretty damn fun not so long ago. I'm still on the high from it, but I'm here, ready to talk some game news and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Absolutely. And we're also joined by Miss Dana Abercrombie. How's it going, Dana?
It's going great. It's going great.
That's good. So, yeah, I would like to apologize to everybody that was looking forward to a show yesterday. I had things that I had to work on because, we're still working on a couple of E3 related articles, so on and so forth, some interviews as well. So I needed some more time to really, make some progress on that. But we definitely are back for a new episode. There isn't really too many topics to get into, but there are some important things to discuss. So we're going to definitely dive into all that today. But before we do any of that, we're going to talk about what we have been playing. So, Dana, how about you start us off and let us know what you've been playing or what you've been up to?
I have been still playing the Incredibles Lego Incredible. I finished Unravel, very beautiful story, beautiful game, much like the sequel, a little bit too much like, not the sequel, the original, the first part of the series. But cute games, that's all.
Sounds good. Yes. So, how about you, Mr. Lugo? What have you been playing?
I've been playing a couple different things, some of which we have new reviews over on the website now that you guys could check out. I got a chance to play a lot for, I want to say, almost like a week and a half to 2 weeks of Blaze Blue Cross Title, which has a review now on the website as one of our most recent reviews. It's pretty interesting, especially if you love Blaze Blue, if you love Persona 4 Arena. It's done by Arc System Works. It has a couple other characters from other properties, including Ruby, from Rooster Teeth, which kind of ram, I know, but a little bit of a fun addition. It's a 4-way crossover with about 4 different series. And it has some good stuff that's cool about it, but it has a lot of other cons that I felt needed to be talked about. But got a chance to check that out. Also got a chance to review Icy, which is over on the website right now as well. That's another like anime-esque type of game, but that one's more of like a Metroidvania with a lot of fourth wall breaking that I didn't think was all that great. It has a couple of issues here and there. And then finally, I kind of discovered over the last couple of days, I played Fortnite on the Nintendo Switch, and I discovered that it's not really for me. I mean, it's really a thing that's like really popular right now, but unfortunately for me, even though I love FPSs, I have a lot of fun playing first-person shooters, whether they're competitive or otherwise. Fortnite just didn't really click with me. I thought it was just all right. It was whatever. So kind of played it for about an hour or so, and I was like, okay, I think I'm good. But that's pretty much what I've been playing as of late.
Sounds good. And I think that Gary may take personal offense to that because he told me off air he is a huge Fortnite fan. So sorry, Gary.
Have wanted me to play it with them, so they're going to get me at some point.
Yeah, fair enough. I have played it, but I have not played the Battle Royale when they made that update, so I have to also get back into it for the same reason. There are people I know that have it, so we'll see. But yes, Gary, what have you been playing for this week?
So I've been playing a few things. Of course, Overwatch is one of them. There's not much going on right now in terms of events and stuff in the game, but I've still been playing competitive with friends and stuff like that. Oh, and I actually also got it for PS4 as well to play with some other friends. But I have to say, sorry to be a PC snob right now, but that PS4 version in comparison to the PC version is just it's not great, in my opinion. And going from playing Overwatch for 2 years with keyboard and mouse to PS4 controller is very, very hard. Like the controls seem like really weird to me, like on console. And also like the graphics are just not as smooth. It's just not as smooth. It's a very beautiful game. So like, because I'm so used to seeing it, you know, at a high graphical, like, you know, setting, it's like seeing it on console and it's kind of scaled back, like it's not as defined and everything. It's a bit off-putting, but still, you know, it's cool that I'm now going to be able to play with a whole bunch of other people that I never got to really play it with before. And I'm hoping that, you know, I'll get to explain to a few of my friends like what Overwatch is all about and why, you know, why there's such hype about it and why I love it so much. So being able to share that experience with more people is you know, that's the real reason I got the game on PS4. So that's cool. And I've also been playing Assassin's Creed Origins. I haven't got too much further in it, but it's decent, man. So far it's decent. I feel like the story takes a long time to develop. And also I feel like the modern day storyline is very like it's not needed. It's unnecessary at this point. Like not much really happens. It's just a random woman who's in the what's the machine called again? Can't remember. The Animus or whatever it's called. It's just a random woman in a tomb in the Animus, and like every now and then you get a cutscene about her, and you have to do like a puzzle or something like that. But it really adds nothing to the overall story at all. So it's like, why even add it? Like it's a bit weird. But yeah, I'm just really playing it to get ready for Odyssey, because Odyssey looks like it's going to be pretty incredible. I think they're going to really evolve on what they made with Origins. So I'm looking forward to playing Odyssey when that comes out. I've also been playing Elder Scrolls Online, which I got to play with former Koalition staffer David Jagger, because you know he's covering the game as well. That game is really good. It's impressing me, man. Like I didn't know it was that rich in content. Like it really is like playing an Elder Scrolls game. It's like playing Skyrim, but it's just, you know, obviously it's not as graphically advanced, but it's still along the same lines in terms of what you can do. And it's a really fun experience. Like if you've got people to play with, I think it's a really good MMO. It seems like there's tons of value in there as well. So yeah, I highly recommend Elder Scrolls Online to people who want to play like a really hardcore fantasy RPG that's online as well. And I've also been playing Final Fantasy VII, the original version on PC. So yeah, I'll have a lot to say on some of our topics a little later. But that's pretty much all I've been playing.
Oh yeah, so I got to give you a shout out, Gary, because you played a ton of games. Normally, I just hear you talk about Overwatch, so that's very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, man, I fit it in where I can. Like sometimes I don't get to play for like a full hour or something like that, but sometimes I fit in like 15 minutes and half an hour or something wherever I can. So I feel like I can play more that way if I just fit it in where I can.
Oh yeah, hey, I totally understand that. So very quickly, as for me, I haven't really been playing too much. I can say that I will be reviewing The Crew 2. Actually, just received that today, so I haven't really had a chance to play it. It is downloaded, so I will be playing that right after we finish recording tonight's show. But aside from that, I just haven't had time to play anything. But again, that's going to change because, you know, we have that. And then we also have Nier Automata on Xbox, which is also coming out tomorrow. I did play it on PlayStation 4 last year, so I definitely want to try it out on the Xbox One, see how this edition is, since it is supposedly the definitive edition, as they said. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it though. But yeah, I will have a lot more to say next week because I have a ton of things that I will be playing in addition to the stuff that I already spoke about. So stay tuned for that. But that concludes what we have been playing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right into the main topics. And to segue off of what Gary mentioned with Final Fantasy VII, there was a bit of a update. Well, I don't know if you really want to call it an update regarding Final Fantasy VII Remake. So according to a recent interview that was conducted, the game's director had Sony's conference or at the Square Enix conference at E3 a couple of weeks ago. So he pretty much had said in the interview that he feels as though they announced the game too early, and that, you know, it's still in development alongside Kingdom Hearts 3. But obviously, Kingdom Hearts 3, we already know that's coming out January of next year. We don't have any release date or any update really regarding Final Fantasy VII Remastered. So obviously, that's probably going to take a lot longer than we anticipated. But I guess I just wanted to get you guys quick thoughts on what he said regarding Final Fantasy VII Remake and whether or not you agree or disagree that the game definitely was announced too early. So, Gary, how about you start us off?
Yeah, I got two things to say on that. In terms of them announcing it too early, yeah, I feel like they did, but I feel like Sony was also kind of leaning on them to make the announcement too, because, you know, of course, that year when it was announced was when, you know, they had that really crazy press conference and Sony just wanted to shock the world. So I think Sony was kind of, you know, leaning on them a little bit too and probably nudging them a little bit to give them that exclusive announcement and everything. But yeah, I think, you know, if they would have had it their way, they might not have released it so soon. And also the fact that Nomura is saying this now, I truly believe that we're not going to see this game until next gen now. Like, just the fact that he's saying it, like, because obviously he knows that it's going to take them some more years to develop the game. So I don't think we're either going to see it at the very end of the PS4 life cycle, and then they'll probably like have a remake on the next system, or they're just going to put it on the next system, or it's going to release on both or something like that, you know. But yeah, definitely too early. And also I want to say one thing, because I know I've been going back and forth on my opinion of this game as well. But after playing the original some, you know, over the past couple of weeks and watching Riku-san one's stream of Final Fantasy VII, I really actually don't even want them to make this anymore. Like, I'm not sure I want this game, because the original is a masterpiece, and I feel like they're gonna mess it up somehow. Like, they're gonna struggle to recreate that feeling that the original game gives you, because the original game is such a masterpiece. Just the way it's put together for its time, it was way ahead of its time, and just everything about it is perfect. And I don't think they're going to be able to recapture everything, you know, and make you feel those same emotions when you play that original game. So I would rather them just make something new, to be honest, like Final Fantasy 16, you know. But I mean, when it comes out, I will play it, don't get me wrong, but I could do without it. Like, I would rather see new stuff, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that, but you really think next gen is when we're going to see it? Not before that?
Well, I mean, both Sony and Microsoft seem to be rushing into the next gen, despite, you know, releasing other systems. So, yeah, I could see it being next gen.
Interesting. All right, Ms. Stormy, do you have any thoughts on this particular topic?
This game is never coming out. They're just there to troll us. But as Gary said, next gen, not even this next gen, the next gen after next gen. So 2 gen. It's not coming. And yeah, this is why I don't believe in release dates. You just don't announce a release date. When you have E3, you'd be like, surprise, it's releasing tonight. That's it. That's all you just need to announce. You don't need to say we're working on it. It's a progress. Here's a screenshot. Here's some illustrations. Here's the title. Don't do anything. Just say, oh, look, it's available right now. That's it. Because you end up with this, and we're waiting. What is this, 20 years now? I don't know. It's ridiculous. Don't say anything no more.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. And as for you, Mr. Lugo, I know you were one of the people that when they announced Final Fantasy, when they announced Kingdom Hearts 3, you said, "Oh, that game is definitely not coming out this year," and you was right. Because
I was right. Damn right. I took a victory lap during E3 during that one. You were there. You saw it. We took that victory lap straight to Denny's is what happened. But as far as this stuff, I've said it a couple times, you know, off the podcast, off camera and stuff, but I'll say it on here. They put themselves in this position because they're totally right. They did announce it very, very early. And I think that they kind of forced themselves in that position a while back. Because remember, they set themselves up for this when they said that Final Fantasy VII was coming to the PlayStation 4. And that's what originally everybody thought at first. And it ended up being the PC port to the PlayStation 4 of the original game. And then they were kind of like, you know what, like at this point, let's just dive head first into it, which I'm pretty sure they were planning on quite a long time. But with this one, I think with all the stuff that's come out about CyberConnect 2, about the stuff behind the scenes with the development of the game, I think at this point, you're probably not going to see it until next gen because of how long it's taking for this thing just to get off the ground and just start to get things moving. And I think it has a lot to do with a lot of the resources probably being stretched thin, because keep in mind, they got Kingdom Hearts 3 coming around in the corner, like in the next, like what, 6-7 months now at this point, because it's coming out in January, beginning of next year. And they've been with that development of that game and Final Fantasy VII Remake almost at the same exact time, with Nomura kind of bouncing back and forth between the two. And I think at this point also, they need to, at least, you know, Nomura at this point has at least had to make a decision of which one to kind of focus on right now and get out first before they move on to the next next project. They have other games that are also coming down the pipeline that are still not released yet here in the States, with the exception of Dragon Quest XI, which Dragon Quest XI is already out, already has been out in Japan for quite some time, but it's coming here to the West. So as far as Final Fantasy VII Remake is concerned, as far as like the quality of the game that's going to be and like what it is, essentially, unlike Gary and a lot of other people, I actually want this to be remade because I'm actually cool with the remakes that Square Enix puts out with some of the classic Final Fantasy games, with 4 probably being the best example of that. You know, as far as like reimagining a game to, you know, still be kind of like the same type of context, but like presented in a brand new way. And I think that if anything, Final Fantasy VII is the game out of the entire series that really deserves that. But a lot of the decisions that we've heard over time when it came to like the game being episodic and all this other stuff, I think that's where Square Enix kind of lost their way. And maybe that's why a lot of this stuff has been happening behind the scenes and why it's taking so long, because maybe they're experiencing a really big course correction. Maybe instead of it being episodic, which I hope it's not, maybe they're going back to that one disc type of game and having it still be a big game a la Final Fantasy 15. We won't know because obviously they haven't really been clear about that, but hopefully maybe at Tokyo Game Show later this year, maybe at PlayStation Experience, you know, because surprisingly me, you, and even Max, when we were at E3, we kept saying that maybe we might see this during like the PlayStation conference or even during the Square Enix conference, and we got none of that, which was kind of surprising. So who knows at this point?
I agree. Yeah, we'll just have to wait on what's going to happen with this project. And, you know, with Kingdom Hearts 3, now we do know that's coming out. So eventually it will eventually come out. But, yeah, it's going to definitely be a while before all that happens. So any final thoughts on this topic before we move on to the next?
I still have no faith that Kingdom Hearts 3 is actually coming. I'm telling you, January 28th at 11:59 p.m., they're going to announce that the game is.
I would not put it past them. I would not put it past them. That's exactly what happened with Final Fantasy 15. And we all swore up and down that we would not get that. And look exactly what happened.
So you're saying you expect it in 2020?
Expected in 2020.
I honestly believe that if they come out and say that they have to delay the game even by like another month or something, people are going to riot. Like, they've been waiting on this game for so long, and the fan base for Kingdom Hearts is rabid and like really over the top sometimes, that at this point it just be like, I think it'd be a very bad PR move or optically wise just to do something like that, even though they might need it. But who knows? You know, it's been weird because there's still some worlds that they announced that they showed like concept art for a while back that we haven't seen yet in any of the teasers, which I find always interesting. But well, hopefully they stick to the date this time.
We'll see. See about that. All right, let's move on to the next topic. So this is a topic that I'm pretty sure that Gary, it's going to definitely, they're working on Red Dead Redemption 2 for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. This is a programmer on the game. and he's been with Rockstar since June 2009, and he left in October of 2016. So obviously, you know, I mean, Rockstar hasn't really announced anything quite yet, but I'll go to you first, Gary. What do you think about the possibility of Red Dead Redemption 2 coming to PC? Do you think that this absolutely needs to happen, or do you just think it should just stay on consoles since the first game is on console? Well, the last game is on consoles.
I definitely think this needs to happen because, you know, they kind of left people hanging with the first game, and you know they always put out Grand Theft Auto on on PC as well, even if it's after the console release. And they have a huge community of people on PC who like those games. So you know, it doesn't make sense to not release it because you're missing out on a sum of money just by not doing it. So I truly believe that we'll see this game on PC. It might be a few months later or a year later, maybe, but eventually we are going to see, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2 come to PC, and I'll be waiting for it. You know, I'll definitely be waiting. I wish it would release on, you know, the same day as consoles, because that would save money, because I would just get the PC version. You know, and also like I like that now we're starting to get more and more games that are coming to PC as well, because I find myself playing console much less, which means by the time the new consoles roll out, I'm going to be saving money then too, because I probably won't even need to buy them. So yeah, I'm all for this.
Absolutely. I understand that. What are your thoughts on this topic, Dana?
Guys, it's LinkedIn. That's funny. Someone slipped up on LinkedIn. Yay for those who have PC and is waiting for the game. I'm not sure as other people are, as following a LinkedIn page, but especially from a developer who's no longer with the company. But if that's happening, then good for you guys. I think it's great, you know, and like Gary did say, I don't think it's going to come right away. I think you guys are going to have to wait a little bit, which is unfortunate. It would be nice if it would, you know, release at the same date as everyone else's platform. But good for those who play on PC.
Absolutely. How about you, Mr. Lugo, on Red Dead coming to PC?
Not much. I think it's cool. I think that's kind of expected. You know, granted, you know, they never really had a lot of the other games on PC before until much later. But I'd be surprised if maybe this also happens around release. But either way, I think it's a cool thing. I think also that maybe Rockstar or a couple of the other companies are going to be a little bit much more stingy about people putting stuff on their LinkedIn, because it's always something like this that we hear that usually kind of breaks out big news that comes later on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One thing I will very briefly about this topic is I know that when Rockstar accurate, I think it's great news. Anybody on PC, I would hope that, you know, hopefully there will be a way for them to experience the last Red Dead game on PC. But we'll see what happens. But yes, until Rockstar confirms it, just gonna have to wait and see what the future holds. But any final thoughts on this topic before we move on to the next? All right, so another topic to mention very briefly. Last week, I believe it was on Friday, we actually got an official release date for Life is Strange Season 2. And that release date is September 27th. Obviously, it's coming to PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. And I know that today, actually, the free episode, I believe it's the Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. Yes, we actually have a review on the website right now that was done by Tatiana, so definitely check that out. But if you haven't, for any reason, had a chance to play Life is Strange, that actually is a very good entry point into the series. But I just want to get you guys quick thoughts on Life is Strange Season 2, if you're looking forward to it or not, because I know some of you in this chat have played it. I must confess I haven't had a chance to play that yet, but I will now, that because I mean I do have the game. I just haven't had the time to play it. But Gary, how about you give me your thoughts first? Are you looking forward to Life is Strange 2? Did you even play the first one? Because I don't even think I've ever asked you if you did play the first season.
I've only played one episode. I still need to finish that, actually. I definitely want to finish it at some point. It's just, the time investment, and because like I have to like, it's like a 2 hour block to beat an episode. So it's like, I have to really have my schedule cleared before I get into a game like that. But I definitely do want to, play through this series. I know they got the spin-off ones as well, which look interesting. I'm not sure about the one with the little kid, but the other one looked pretty interesting. So yeah, I mean, this is exciting. I know that a lot of people love Life is Strange. So, it's got a big fan base. So for all those people, it's good to hear that they're finally getting Life is Strange 2, because I know a lot of people have been waiting for this game for a long time. So yeah.
Absolutely. One thing I will add is, I know when I went to the presentation for Captain Spirit at E3, they pretty much announced in that presentation that they were going to be announcing Life is Strange 2's release date, within right after E3, and sure enough, that's what they did. But a lot of people heard that. They was just excited, wondering how this game is connected to that. And there are some things in this other game that I have heard where there are some Easter eggs, and it really does give an idea as to what is going to happen in Life is Strange Season 2. But as I already said, I have not yet played the games. I do have the games all on Xbox, so I will definitely jump into that and see what all the hype is about, because I know the game has gotten a huge response across the board from pretty much everybody. So I got to check that out. Dana, how about you? You have any thoughts on Life is Strange Season 2? Are you looking forward to it? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's really one of those games that you get really invested in. And I hope, I'm very excited for it, but I just really hope that, I know it's 5 episodes, but I hope that they launch quicker than they did the first season, because it took a while for them to get all those episodes out there. But overall, I think it's really good. I'm excited for it. I don't want to get too excited until I play it, but I'm excited that they have the second season, and the fact that Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, that looked really interesting. I know it's a very heavy story adventure game, and it just looked really captivating, and I think that comes out tomorrow, I'm gonna say. So I'm really excited for that, and I know that it connects to Season 2, so it has something, for us to tie over into the next season launches. So I'm excited for it. I'm happy.
Oh yeah, it was originally supposed to come out tomorrow, but apparently it's out now. I agree, and I also would say it's smart, because like the devs have said, it's a great entryway into this. If you haven't really played Season 1, they say that's not recommended. I mean, they say that you should play it, but it's not recommended. It's totally up to you, but definitely going to check that out sooner rather than later. And how about you, Mr. Lugo? Because I do recall you saying that you have played Life is Strange in the past. What are your thoughts, Season 2?
Yeah. I definitely have played Life is Strange Season 1, or Life is Strange 1. I've also played Before the Storm, not fully, but like a good chunk of it that I have to go back to and finish it eventually. But tonight I'm actually going to be playing Adventures of Captain Spirit, because I'm already downloading it, which is pretty cool. And I'm glad that it's free. It kind of like, you could look at this as kind of like a Life is Strange 2 demo, almost, in a sense, because they're just kind of putting it out there, and they're saying that it leads into certain stuff with Life is Strange 2, which is interesting nonetheless. What I'm also curious about is why they didn't announce it at E3, because I think it would have been cool to announce that, and then also say, what you do with Captain Spirit also leads into Life is Strange 2. I'm very surprised they didn't do that, but maybe they had a couple other reasons for not doing so, especially during the Square Enix conference, which I thought was interesting. Remember, we got this like about a week and change after E3. It would have been an even cooler little piece of news to have with the Square Enix conference, because a lot of people weren't really all that keen on what Square Enix had showed during their conference. Even though they got new announcements, they had The Quiet Man, and they had a couple other stuff as well, besides what was already shown at the previous other conferences for Xbox and PlayStation. But for Life is Strange 2, I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be great. I'm really curious to see where they're going to go from the ending of Life is Strange 1, or at least what kind of stuff we could expect from Captain Spirit, or what it's going to give to us that kind of eases us in to whatever Life is Strange 2 is going to be at the very start. There's a lot of theories going around. I know Tatiana had put a couple things in her review that she had mentioned, and she was kind of saying like, yo, there's some cool little things. Maybe I got some theories about it that might be interesting that relate to the second game. So again, I'm really curious to see how this all plays out. I can't wait to play it tonight.
Oh yeah, I agree. You know, like I said, I also have that game downloaded too on Xbox, but I can't wait to play it either. I mean, I just need to make the time to play it. There's so many games that I have to get caught up on, but definitely looking forward to. I mean, I heard so much about this game. I know when I went to PAX last year, they actually had a party specifically for this game. That was a very interesting experience. So the game definitely has I would say, a pretty good following. So I'm looking forward to seeing what season 2 has to offer, and of course Captain Spirit, and then everything, you know, all the rest of season 1, so on and so forth. So we'll see. All right, so I believe now we can move on to the next topic, and this particular topic is I'm very curious to hear your opinion. What we now know is working on the game anymore. I know that when we saw the trailer at E3, obviously there was some noticeable changes to a lot of the things that they're doing with the game, as far as it's being a lot more polished. You have Terry Crews actually in the game now, because initially it was just another character, but they actually have him designed as the guy now. But I wanted to get you guys' initial thoughts on this. You know, obviously, Crackdown series creator Dave Jones, this is who they had on stage when they announced this game. Back in, I believe it was back in 2014. And of course, the game still hasn't come out yet. You know, we do know that it initially was supposed to come out February around the 22nd of 2019. Now the release date is just February 2019. So sometime it's coming out in February. But I just wanted to get you guys' initial thoughts on this particular news. The fact that the creator is no longer a part of the project and the original development team is no longer a part of it. Is this cause for concern, or do you think everything is pretty much going along as planned in regards to the game's development? So Gary, I got to go to you first, because, you know, for some reason, you know, people seem to
showing this game for like 5 years now. It's still not out, you know, so it's like at this point, like, what the hell's going on? You know, they made a point to hype up cloud gaming when they first showed it, and now there's no mention of that anymore. So yeah, I just don't know what's going on with this. I mean, it makes sense that the original developer left, like, because whenever games are prolonged like this, you know, usually it is something internal where the original director has, you know, kind of left or moved on. Like, we see this a lot with Square Enix, for example. So it does make a lot of sense that there's some things going on in the background, and that's what's affecting the game. But, you know, I don't know. I feel like, you know, I feel like at E3 this year, they either should have shown a lot more in, like, because I don't even feel like we've gotten a huge game like gameplay demo of this to see what it's actually like and where it's at. You know, so it's like we don't even know what to expect at this point. And at E3, they didn't really show too much of, you know, what's changed or what, you know, what direction the game is and everything. Like, I feel like they need to do like a full-on, maybe like a 10-minute minimum gameplay demo just to show us what is this game, what state is the game in now, and what can we actually expect. Because, you know, at the moment, it's just I'm just full of doubt in terms of this game. And until I see something that's, you know, captivating, or something that makes me want to get excited for it, I'm not going to, because we've been seeing this game repeatedly and we're no step closer to actually getting it. So yeah, I mean, that's all I can really say about it.
No, I totally understand that point of view. Say before I move on to the next person, I maybe say some more a little bit later. The only concern that I have for the game is the window in which it's coming, because there are a lot of games coming out at that same time. You know, you have Anthem, which is a game that I wasn't necessarily impressed with at E3, but there are a lot of people that I know that are huge Destiny fans, and they know that this is supposed to be similar to Destiny in certain regards. So there, a lot of people are going to pick this game up just because of the hype alone. So you have that coming out. You have a lot of other titles that are going to be coming out around that time in that month. And then, of course, as we mentioned earlier, Kingdom Hearts, if it doesn't get delayed, comes out, you know, a couple of weeks, about a couple before this as well. So I understand that this is a different type of game. It's going to have a different type of audience. But I do think that, you know, releasing it in a crowded window with all these other games, I don't really know if a lot of people are going to want to pick up this game if they already plan on picking up Anthem or any of the other stuff. So hopefully, you know, it does come together for Microsoft. Like I said, you know, we did see some footage of it in the past, and it didn't look like it was a bad game. It looked like it needed some more polish. We haven't really seen how it looks as of late. You know, we saw the trailer. There was some gameplay in that trailer, but I do agree. I would love to see like a full demo running just to get a feel for a lot of other things. But I will give them the benefit of the doubt that if they made decisions to cut ties with the original creator or the developer, I'm pretty sure it was probably for the best, you know, because Phil saw there was some issues and he wanted to nip that stuff in the bud beforehand. And, you know, if, like I said, at the end of the day, if the final product is great, then the delay doesn't really matter. But yeah, I believe that they know that they definitely want this game to be something. So we'll just have to wait and see how the final product turns out. But if they had issues, it's totally fine. Microsoft, well, pretty much any company has had issues with a lot of developers. So that's expected in this business. Everyone doesn't have a hit or create an amazing game. And there are certain hurdles you have to go through with development. I know they had mentioned before the engine that they were using, they had to really learn more about that because they didn't really know everything that they needed to know to make this game a certain way that they wanted to make it. So we just have to see what happens. But at the end of the day, if the final product is great, no one will care that it was delayed. But again, just have to wait and see. But Dana, do you have any thoughts on this particular news regarding Crackdown 3?
This game is a joke. It's a joke by now. From what the footage that they showed us was just, I felt nothing. Crews yelling at things. I think they only have 10 minutes of the game probably completed. So there goes your demo, Gary. But, oh gosh, this is not a good thing, but just release the game. Just get it done and over with, or just kill it completely. That's all.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. How about you, Mr. Lugo? Any thoughts on this news regarding Crackdown 3?
Not really much for me, to be honest with you. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they're clearly not done, or at least there's stuff that they got to iron out before the game comes out. I'm curious to know if anybody that we know of and any other outlet has had a behind closed doors demo of this game yet, or has seen it behind closed doors, because I don't remember any of that happening at E3, unless I missed some, because I know you saw more Xbox stuff than anybody else when we were out there.
Yeah, the only stuff that, the Xbox Showcase event I went to, that game wasn't even on the games that got the most attention. Forza Horizon 4, Ori and the Blind, in the Will of the Wisp, and then a lot of third-party titles like the Division 2. A lot of people was taking center stage with that. Kingdom Hearts 3, stuff like that. And then of course
nothing away from the actual Xbox Showcase, nothing away from the floor, like and behind closed door presentation anywhere else.
Oh no, because when I did go in there, it's very specific. You could have gotten an appointment, but the only appointments that were available to get that were away from that area, it was to see the same game. So I'm not sure if they did have someone else there or another opportunity to see the game there, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to probably have something at Gamescom, I'm assuming, because I think it gives them a little bit more time. It's closer to the fall.
That's the next big show, as far as like bigger than E3. That would be concerned as far as like showing stuff, or at least maybe a Paris Games Week. But I'm not so sure if something like Crackdown would be shown at like Paris Games Week. That's a lot of more European developers and stuff like that, because the studio developing this one is not European, right? It's American based, right?
Yeah,
as far as you know. Yeah. So I think probably Gamescom will probably be this year at least to see that game before it supposedly comes out in February, right?
That's what they say, February 2019. I thought maybe PAX, but I don't know about that.
No, I sincerely doubt it. I don't think something like that would get revealed, or at least shown in a much more bigger capacity like that. And besides, PAX, if you're talking about PAX West, I don't think so, really, because normally even then, I would say like something like a PAX East, because I know I've gone to PAX East events where they've shown games that are like fairly new that they have like a big showing there right before they come out. But PAX East is already after Crackdown 3 is supposedly coming out. I don't think that they would really show that at PAX West. And to me, it's be like way too soon.
Yeah, so it definitely would have to be, if it was Gamescom, that would be the next best bet. Obviously, Forza will be what they show a lot of at Gamescom because a lot of that audience is there as well. But I mean, yeah, we just have to wait and see. I mean, I don't really, like I said, I have nothing but positive things to say about Xbox after seeing their conference. You know, obviously there's a lot more to what I will say about that in the future. But I mean, for the most part, Crackdown, we'll see how it turns out. I know that I was not a fan. I've seen State of Decay. I'm going to say State of Decay as well as Sea of Thieves. From the moment that I saw Sea of Thieves, I was like, you know what? I don't like this game. I'm not really feeling this game. And then when I tried the beta, it just was not, I was not into that game whatsoever. State of Decay 2, I still want to get that game. So I will still give some of these other games chances. I mean, I've purchased Quantum Break in the past, all these other Xbox titles. So I will always give a game a chance. But Crackdown, I'll wait and see what happens with Crackdown. We have to wait and see whether or not it's a wise move. But I will say, glad they didn't cancel the game because they've already canceled enough games this generation, in my personal opinion. So we'll see what happens. But yes, any final thoughts before we move on to our main topic for this evening? Yes. So, of course, the main topic, and this stays right on the same subject of regarding games. So last week, we finally got the news regarding the May NPDs. And then, of course, you have Xbox Switch as well. All that is still pretty much as you would expect. But, of course, the main thing and the biggest news came with the actual software sales. And at the number one at the top of the list is State of Decay 2, a game that, I mean, like I said, I've seen this game ever since they started to really show more footage of the game. And it's a game that I fully intend to purchase. I just haven't purchased it yet because there are other things that I have had to play if it was either for review or something else. I just haven't had the time to play it. But just to give a quick scope of the top 10, we had NBA 2K18 at number 10. Number 9 was Mario Kart 8. Number 8 was Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Number 7 was Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. Number 6, Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 5, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Number 4 was Far Cry 5. Number 3 was Detroit Become Human. Number 2 was God of War. And as I've already mentioned, number 1, State of Decay 2. So I wanted to get you guys' initial thoughts on some of the games that charted on this list, if you are surprised about any of them. And I'm going to go to you first, Gary, because I know, well, you and Mr. Luke.
I got to give my props to Microsoft, man. You know, they got a game finally at the top of the NPDs, so that's great for them, man. You know, State of Decay 2. I'm not sure how they calculate these numbers in terms of, you know, Game Pass or actual sales or whatever, but regardless, it's great that they got a game at number 1, you know. So that's cool for them. I hope people are enjoying State of Decay 2. Looks like a lot of fun from everything I've been hearing. So yeah, that's cool for them. In terms of everything else on the list, I'm glad there's no Call of Duty or, you know, well, 2K is at number 10, so I can't even say that. But yeah, like it's a pretty diverse list, and that's a good thing, you know. I'm surprised Far Cry 5 is still doing so well. and Grand Theft Auto 5, we know that's going to be there. Donkey Kong is good to see, you know, a Nintendo game in there too. And yeah, I mean, everything else seems on point in terms of that top 10. And as for like God of War in Detroit, I expected Detroit to be, you know, maybe number 2 because that's like the most recent game that came out for PS4. But in terms of popularity, I guess God of War is a step above, you know, Detroit. Because, you know, people love Kratos, people love Greek lore and everything, and Norse mythology and stuff like that. So I can see why that's slightly more popular. But yeah, I mean, you know, 1, 2, and 3, you know, those are still good slots for, you know, both God of War and Detroit. So you can't, you know, it's not like you can judge the quality of the game by this list. You know, that's 2 completely separate things. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good list, man. It's a good NPD list, I think. I think everything kind of deserves to be there, which is cool. Well, I mean, I can't speak too much for State of Decay because I haven't really played it. It's not my type of game, but you know, it seems like people are enjoying it, and that's the main thing. People are enjoying it, and that's the main thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, I do have some more thoughts, but before I do that, Mr. Lugo, do you have any thoughts on the games on this list?
Not a whole lot, to be totally honest with you. I mean, there is a couple things I'm surprised that are lower on the list. Like, I'm surprised Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection is not closer to maybe like closer to the top 10 spots. You know, maybe not in the top 10 spots, but a little bit much more edging closer to that. But everything else, I'm totally fine with. Again, I'm like Gary. I really can't speak to State of Decay or State of Decay 2 as far as the quality of it. Again, not really my style of game, and also zombies. But kudos to everybody, or at least kudos to all the games that have made it onto the top 20 there. I mean, there's a lot of good ones on here that are, again, surprisingly, getting a lot of support behind them, which I think is great.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Dana, a question for you. Now, are you glad that WWE 2K18 is not on this list?
Oh, but don't worry. 2K19 is going to be the number 1 spot. Ronda Rousey.
Yes.
No, I'm like you said, JJ previously, I was a little bit surprised about Street Fighter not being higher, but this list looks fine. I'm kind of not upset. I'm just kind of like shocked would be the better word. Surprised that Detroit Become Human, I think, was like popular for like 1 week and just kind of like fizzled. The people that I knew was like, yeah, it's really exciting. And then like 2 weeks or so later, it was like, I still play it though. You know, like that buzz kind of died down. But other than that, yeah, everything looks fine to me. But yeah, don't worry, 2K19, it's coming.
Absolutely. All right, so just a few things I want to say on the list. I agree with pretty much everything that you all had to say. I think the list looks great. State of Decay 2, this is a very big deal for Microsoft. Also a big deal for Undead Labs because, you know, Microsoft officially owns them now. So I think this is good. Gives them a lot of good confidence. You know, I know this was an independent team. I actually recall seeing them at PAX East several years ago when they released the original State of Decay. As I knew the community manager that was over there, she's no longer there. She's working on another project now. But the game had a good response then, so I'm glad to know that the sequel is doing well. As I said, I definitely want to pick it up at some point in time, but you know, I just have to make the time to actually play through it. But I'm glad it is number 1. In regards to God of War in Detroit, I still haven't finished God of War. One thing I will say is that God of War, I think that definitely is by far one of PlayStation's biggest titles this year as far as sales, because last month on NPD it was number 1. So the fact that it's still in the top 3, I think that's a testament to how good the game actually is in the response that it's getting from everyone being positive. So that's good for Sony. And as for Detroit Become Human, I know that this is a game that is not necessarily going to appeal to everybody because the subject matter, it's a different type of game entirely. So I'm not surprised. I mean, I am surprised it actually is in the top 3 because I didn't even think it was going to be in the top 5. Even though there wasn't really too many games out in certain parts of May, I still figured, well, this is a game because it deals with certain subject matter. Everyone is not going to want to play this game. But still, the fact that it's in the top 3 is still good. Like Gary said, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And as Gary also pointed out, this does not mean that the quality of the games are bad because they're lower on the list. Far Cry 5, a game that I reviewed back in March, I had a hell of a time with that game. And I would say that that was fun overall. I mean, it wasn't a game that dealt with a lot of controversial stuff and took it too far. It tried to keep it fun. And I mean, depending on the type of stuff you like, you may or may not like the subject matter, but it was good enough. But overall, I don't have any issues with this list. You know, once again, congrats to Microsoft for State of Decay 2. And I hope people do continue to support the game as well as other Microsoft titles, because yeah, I mean, they deserve it. When they put out a good game, they deserve to get some attention for it. So definitely wanted to say that. But yes, that's all I had to say on the list. Is any other thoughts that you guys want to say about this list before we get ready to wrap up today's show?
I mean, what do you guys think will happen on the next MPD? Because I mean,
yeah.
what came out in June? Not too much came out, right?
As far as I could think of, I think there's only like one release I could think of that probably is like somewhat notable June. At least I think off the top of my head, because it's fairly recent. It's the new Gundam Breaker from Bandai Namco. Because everything else is starting to come out like in the next like month or two. That's like really big. I have to look at a release to find out, to be honest.
I know Crew 2 is coming out, but it's like the end of the month, so I'm not sure.
That's coming out right at this upcoming Friday. It'll be out everywhere.
I know people are excited and rushing to the stores for Jurassic World Evolution.
Whoa!
Surprisingly enough, at E3, that actually had a crowd around the booth area where that game was. The thing was is that you couldn't really get inside to actually play it. That's the problem, though. It just was weird because they had a great display, like a whole bunch of dinosaurs and stuff. But however, just trying to get in online to go play that game, it was impossible. They just weren't letting people go play it.
Oh, wow.
That's unfortunate. Well, Dana, your game is out, The Incredibles 2, so I'm pretty sure that'll probably be on this list, right?
No. And let me explain. Look, I was excited. I'm like, yay, The Incredibles. I got The Incredibles 2 in there. It's Lego. Woo! The game is hot. It's bad. Like it's not good. Like maybe if I was like 7 or 4, maybe 12 at most, I would be like, okay, it's a good game. But it's not good. It's very repetitive. And the structure is weird. It goes from the second movie, then it switches back over to the first movie, then it splits off in its own little thing. It's just odd. And then the gameplay itself is just not really good. So, no, that was a massive disappointment. No,
yeah.
Just no.
Heads up, like I just looked now at a release schedule for games that came out in June. There is, in the beginning to June up to now, there isn't really a lot that's like really going to impact the MPDs. Most of the stuff that will, in my opinion, happens towards the end of the month, and I don't even think they're going to get included in the June MPDs because you got Wolfenstein coming out on Nintendo Switch. You got Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy coming out on Nintendo Switch. The only one that I can really think that maybe does something, or at least people like actually care about, is probably either Nier Automata on Xbox One or Unravel 2. I mean, if I had to make an educated guess, to be honest.
Well, hold on. This is probably going to be number 1 because of the track record. Mario Tennis Aces.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think it breaks into the top 10 like that, to be honest.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I mean, there'll be people that care about Mario Tennis. I think obviously there's still a following, especially the hardcore Nintendo following, but I don't think it's enough to really break through the top 10 like that.
And what about the Crew 2?
Yeah, the Crew 2 comes out. That comes out on Friday. So that that's like pretty much the end of the month. So I mean, it still can do. I mean, they have a beta for it now. So I guess if people jump into the beta and they really like the game, then they might pick it up. I mean, I have no idea.
Well, hold up. How do the NPDs work then? Like it gets counted for the entirety of the month, or is it like a particular point of the month, and then like what's at the end of the month gets counted towards the July NPDs? Like how does that work out?
Well, I thought it was just the entirety of the month.
Yeah, I think like hypothetically, a game could come out on the last day of the month, and if it sells like millions, it would chart basically. I think.
Yeah.
But that, you know, obviously that's not likely to happen because it's like, you know, it's one day.
Yeah, I think you can make a good case for in when you talk about God of War. I mean, there's a lot of people that bought that game if they bought it at launch, but then there was a large crowd that bought it after word of mouth, and that probably was the start of the next month, which is why it's still at the top of the NPDs. But I think it's only by month. I don't think it goes over because I don't know if they've changed that the metric by which they actually look over this stuff. I don't know. One final thing I definitely want to say though, I know Dana made the joke about WWE 2K19 being in NPDs, which I'm pretty sure it will be. But I want to say this, and I am hoping that this happens. I want to say it so that it does happen. Forza Horizon 4, I hope to hell that charts in October, because when Forza Horizon 3 came out, NPDs, a couple years ago, I don't recall it being on that list. And I was very shocked by that because I thought the game was fantastic. So I would hope that Forza Horizon 4 is going to chart. But again, this is the same month you have games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Battlefield 5, Call of Duty. The list goes on. And Assassin's Creed Odyssey also. So I am hoping it charts because I want people to actually pick up this game and actually play it because, you know, Playground makes awesome games. So we'll see what happens. But hopefully it does. But yes. So yes, finally. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I just want to interject because they just kind of released this. And Richard, I know you're going to get really excited.
Uh-oh.
Speaking of K19, they released the first 31 wrestlers.
Oh no. Here we go. Let's hear how bad this roster is.
Obviously, AJ Styles. Okay, because he's on the cover.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss. I'm shocked. Alicia Fox. I didn't know she was still there. Apollo Crews. Asuka. Becky Lynch. Big E. Brie Bella. Brock Lesnar. Carmella. Cesaro. Charlotte Flair. Finn Balor. Jeff Hardy. Jinder Mahal. John Cena. Kane. Kofi Kingston. Lana. Matt Hardy. Naomi. Nia Jax. Nikki Bella. Randy Orton. Rusev. Sasha Banks. Seth Rollins. Sin Cara. The Undertaker. Xavier Woods. So that's the first batch.
Okay, so I just want to make a quick comment. You know, I don't want to venture too much into WrestleCast territory because the audience may not want to hear that. I will just say this: the roster is okay, but where the hell are the new wrestlers at? I didn't hear nothing about Adam Cole. I didn't hear nothing about Andrade Cien Almas, and I guess that they're going to wait to talk about that stuff whenever they reveal the next batches, which is fine. But I think it's a given that you already know these people are going to be in the game, the ones that they mentioned. But
Alicia's there, but okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's shocking. And I would also add that Apollo Crews needs to not be on that list because he needs to get released from WWE. But that's another topic entirely different.
So Alicia, but that's another time for another podcast.
Yes. Well, we're definitely going to be talking about that more in depth.
Yes.
And we will talk about it on here as well. I'm sure of that because I'm pretty sure everybody in here is going to pick up the game, including Gary. So yeah, we'll keep that in mind for future reference.
I actually forgot to mention something I played yesterday. I actually played WWE 2K18 with a few friends, and it was actually kind of fun. Like if you don't take the game seriously and just you just see it as kind of a mess around party kind of game, it can be fun because like we played Royal Rumble mode, and we just like basically whenever someone gets tossed out, then you get the next character that enters the rumble and stuff like that. And that can be actually pretty fun if you play with friends and stuff. But if you were playing it solo, I could see how it would be very boring and probably not that fun. So I think it's a game you kind of have to just not take seriously and play with a few friends to really enjoy. Just see it as a party game, basically.
I think you make a good point. Maybe that mode is fun, but that My Career mode is complete garbage. And a lot of, we'll say what?
They're revamping it. Remember? They're changing things.
Hey, they say this every year, so we'll have to see whether or not they're going to be accurate. I know one thing: the game has to be phenomenal now, right? Because the cover athlete. So if the game is trash, was that what?
He didn't even know he was the cover athlete. They broke it to him like the day they was filming.
No, wow, terrible.
Really? I'm excited. He even said, "I don't play video games that much."
Wait a second. We'll see. Well, okay, so that's a false storytelling with that because they made it seem like this guy is a gamer. So that's interesting.
It was like, oh, he's an avid gamer, but he gave like this review, and he was like, "I'm on the road and I'm busy all the time." Like they play like the Switch or something, but they're not like diving into 2K territory like Pokemon Go.
Yeah, and I know Mr. Lugo also says horrible games. So
those games we'll see what happens. I wrote the guide for 2K17 and 2K18 on IGN. I could confirm that those games are not that great. I have no faith in any 2K19, any fun or any good whatsoever. Well, here's the thing. Like I've always said, the wrestling simulation games or games that try to be a simulation of what they show on TV are just not that great. They're just not fun to play.
I will just say this. Just be glad that they didn't ask you to write the guide for the Switch version because that version doesn't even work.
That was broken practically. Yeah. Like, that was not a fun version to play.
And there's been an update. So far, it doesn't look like it's coming to the Switch.
Oh,
thank God.
That
hurt. Love lost there.
Well, that's good. That's good because 2K needs to be held responsible when they make bad mistakes with this stuff. So, yeah, since they are the publisher, Ukes. Yeah, that company is garbage too, but 2K is the publisher, so they got to take some responsibility for that. But we'll see what happens. But that's good news. I can't wait to tell Adam. We have to talk about this on WrestleCast because I know he cannot wait to hear all of those wrestlers that are confirmed for 2K19 because he will be getting it day one. I know that for a fact. Yes. But any final thoughts before we wrap up today's show? All right, so that concludes our quick co-op for today. I do once again apologize. We were unable to do it Sunday, but had quite a bit going on work-wise and in life stuff as well. So I needed the time, and I thank you all for your patience. We will be back again next Sunday, and I'm pretty sure there will be a lot more things to talk about. So stay tuned for that. But as for shout-outs, Dana, do you have any shout-outs that you want to give?
I'm shouting out any developer that wants to take over WWE No Mercy Remastered. Shout out to you.
We'll see. We'll see. Well, we'll see if they are able to actually do that. To be determined. Mr. Lugo, any shout-outs from you?
Yeah, I just want to give a bunch of shout outs to everybody that we saw at E3 not too long ago. Obviously, we didn't really get to say that. It was a lot of fun. It was a hell of a week being out there in LA, covering the show, seeing the conferences, seeing all the people that we met up with during appointments, our colleagues, friends of the website, friends of the show. Whole bunch of great people. Thank you also to all the people that helped celebrate my birthday out there at E3 because, again, I'm turning 30 this year. So it's really cool to at least do that with everybody out during the show in the hecticness of everything that was going on. Also, a big shout out to the guys over at GakuCon. They had me go over to the Gaku Bash here down in Florida right before they shipped out from Miami because they were going on their cruise for their convention on a cruise type of thing. But big shout out to them for having me over there to be as like a guest and just chatting it up. I got to see Phelan over there, which we saw while we were at PAX East earlier this year. They were actually had their game on display. So that was pretty cool seeing them there randomly too. It's kind of like a small world type of thing, but it was pretty cool. And again, just shout out to all my friends and colleagues, that again have been checking out the website, have been checking out all the stuff we've been posting up constantly, all the new reviews, all the E3 coverage, all the E3 content, all the previews, all the interview stuff. If you guys got to check out the Soul Calibur 6 and the Jump Force interviews that I did with Bandai Namco, thank you so much. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed that. There was a lot of cool information that was put into that, when I was talking to the producers of those games and everything else, everybody that's just been checking out the streams, checking out the co-op podcast, the patrons, obviously, and everything else. We really appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving us before E3, after E3, all this stuff. It's been great.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I had some technical issues there temporarily, but we're good now. Yes. So as for me, for shout outs, I want to give a shout out to all of you for being here today. Yeah, everybody on the panel, Dana, JJ, and Mr. Swaby. Appreciate the time putting together this show at the last minute. Shout out to everybody who will either be listening to this on the download later. We appreciate the continued support. Shout out to Mr. Max Muller, as well as Tatiana for the work that they've also been putting in with the preview, so on and so forth. And Mr. Max Muller will be back. We know he just moved, so congratulations to him. But that's pretty much it for me for shout out. So Gary, the floor is now yours.
Yeah, man. First of all, I just wanted to say, I think Dana, you need to make a Kickstarter page for No Mercy. Get the ball rolling. So if you need some help with that, then let me know. But yeah, big shouts to all of the Patreon people, all the people that support us on Patreon. We had to make sure we got this show done, one way or another, because you guys support us and we appreciate that. So we'll always try and make sure there's a show if it's not a holiday or something like that, or an emergency. So yeah. Big shouts to M. Collins, Sean Gority, Stephen Ferron, Mauricio Aguilar, Himdil, Fergus Mills, Miguel, and Antonio Rogers. We thank you all for your support, and everyone who listens to the show, and everyone who downloads it, subscribes on iTunes, and everything like that. And big shouts to the Throwdown crew and everyone at the Koalition that's putting out hard work. The whole E3 team and everything like that as well. So. Yeah, that's pretty much it from me.
Sounds good. Yes. So once again, thank you all for your continued support, and we will talk to you all next week.